Paloma Vineyard, and I'm with owner winemaker Sheldon Richards. Sheldon, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
It's good to see you. I've never met you before, and I'm thrilled after all these years to finally catch up with you.
I went to your website and I saw the people you've interviewed on this mountain, so they know you.
It's about time I caught up with you.
Yeah, exactly.
You have an extraordinary view. There will be pictures, there will be video behind me of the mountains as I've never seen them before, in the biggest gulp my eyes can handle. It's extraordinary to be able to wake up to that.
Yeah, no, the view is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
I'm a lucky man.
Yeah, you are.
It comes with a price.
Yes, it does, and we discussed that. Do you live in this area?
Yeah, I live here.
You live right here?
Yeah.
Ah, you are a lucky man. Oh, man.
The downside is you live where you work, so you never stop working. You have to be passionate. If you're not, you wouldn't survive.
Right.
It's a lifestyle, not a job. The highlight of my day is the people that come from literally all over the world to come here, that have been sent here by somebody to taste wine. And some of them have been buying from my mom and dad going back 30 years, so they share their memories. So it's the highlight of my day.
Tell me about this property here.
My folks invested in the duckhorns in '76 when duckhorn first started coming out here from West Texas. Dad was a geologist. West Texas is the armpit of the world. It's not a place you want to go if you don't have to. And so they fell in love with Napa and bought 17 acres up here at the top of Spring Mountain in '83. This was all forest. There was no vines, no vineyards, no houses, anything. So in '85, we cleared and planted 10 acres. In '87, 5 more acres. And then in '92, I came down from Canada and built the house we're in now. Dad stayed in Texas the first 10 years to pay the money machine, because Vineyard Winery Startup eats money like a machine. My mother farmed this by herself for the first 10 years.
Unbelievable.
And she was in her 50s and knew nothing about farming grapes. So to the old timers in this valley, she's kind of a legend. And Dad moved here full time in '92, and we continued to farm and sell grapes initially. And then Pride, our neighbor, came to us in '94, and they had bought a property, but were doing a wholesale replant of the vineyard, and said, "We want to make Spring Mountain wine. We want to buy all your fruit." So we cut a deal. The deal was we would sell you the bulk of our fruit. We would hold back a little bit, start making wine. We didn't have a winery, so wanted to make it at Pride. And we wanted their winemaker to teach us how to make wine. And that was Bob Foley, who was a great winemaker and a great teacher and a great friend. We did that from '94 to '99. By the end of '99, Pride came to us and said, "We don't need your fruit anymore. We have enough up and producing." And so we built the winery in 2000, started making the wine on our own. Our second vintage, the 01, was the Wine Spectator's top wine in the world, which is nothing that my parents ever aspired to. A geologist and a housewife, that wasn't in the picture for them.
But the geologist thing makes sense.
You would think, but there's a lot of different kinds of geology. There's mining for rocks, there's drilling for oil. He's an oil specialist. So looking at the geology of this mountain, they bought this on a whim. Even Duckhorn said, "Are you sure you want to buy all the way up there and grow Merlot?"
Yeah.
Well, it's worked out pretty well. It was the investment in Duckhorn, I think, that drove it. You have to remember, they came out of the Korean War with not 2 nickels to rub together. Dad went to the University of Texas on a GI Bill. I think for the first 6 years of my life, we lived on homemade macaroni and cheese and canned tuna fish, because that's all the money they had.
Wow.
So when they finally started being successful in the oil and gas industry, they started getting into cooking. Cooking leads to wine, and they fell in love with wine. And they hated West Texas, other than oil. They fell in love with the beauty of Napa, and that's why they moved here.
But for you, coming away from this acreage in Canada, what brought you back here?
Well, when I was 12, we moved to Canada for oil and gas. When I was 19, they moved back to Midland, Texas, and I said, "You can have Midland, Texas. I'm not living there." So I stayed. I have kids up there. I started waiting tables when I was 18, so when my Canadian friends were drinking Molson Blue and Canadian Club whiskey, I was drinking wine. So when they bought this place, there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to be here someday. But I was divorced, and I didn't want to abandon my sons, so I stayed. I came down here and picked rocks from 85 until I moved here in 2003. So pounding steaks, picking rocks, helping where I could. But you don't really learn it till you live it. Yeah. And so when I moved here, I spent the first 10 years in the vineyard, 9 hours a day, 6 days a week, because that's the essence of good wine. It's good grapes. And still to this day, we do our own farming. We do everything, our winemaking, our sales. I built this house with Dad. I built my house behind the winery. So we're kind of a hands-on, do-it-yourself family. My parents are really hard workers and very dedicated. I'm not sure that when they bought this property and decided to put in vines, that they had any idea of the work that it takes to be successful.
Well, few do, it seems.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably true. But it's 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and I'm still doing it. Up until a year ago, I just had Jose, a year and a half ago. Jose and I did all the farming, winemaking, tasting, sales, deliveries, everything. Now my oldest son is getting involved, and I have a woman working for me who's remarkable in the tasting room, but with shipping and taking samples in the vineyard of leaves and grapes and whatever needs to be done.
You, of all people, know the one thing I've talked about with winemakers over the years, the multiple hats you wear. It is something that just keeps you going constantly. Do you get the chance to sneak away and not think about wine for a little while?
So the answer to your question is I've been self-employed most of my life. So when you're a small business owner, you're used to wearing multiple hats. When you jump into the vineyard or winery business, you're wearing a small business hat, but you're also wearing the farmer, the winemaker. It's another set of hats you have to wear, and you have to learn as you go. Yeah. I think one of the things that keeps me going, because I've had 4 or 5 careers in my life, is when the learning curve starts to flatten, I get bored. I have a low tolerance to boredom, and I quit what I'm doing and go find a new career because I love the learning. Whether you grow it, you make it, or you drink it, you never stop learning with wine. So it's an ongoing, ever processing in your mind what's going on with the vines, with the winemaking, new technology in both areas. How do you deal with all that? So it's good, though. It keeps your mind sharp, keeps you busy.
Clearly, you are by appointment up here on Spring Mountain, and I'm sure that people will want to come visit here. So to learn more about you online, what is your website?
PalomaVineyard.com.
Great. That's vineyard singular.
Singular, yeah.
Great. Sheldon, I've totally loved talking to you. You're a plain-spoken guy, and that's a lot of fun. So in this industry, it's refreshing to see that. So thank you.
Well, I think you can find it up in the hills. Yeah. I think this is what's left of the Napa I came to 40 years ago. When you tasted with Heights, if you went to Joe, you tasted with the owner of the winemaker, and it's gotten way beyond that. And here you taste with the owner, the farmer, the winemaker. I'm just one of the guys doing my job that I love. And it's a lot of work, but there's a great deal of satisfaction that goes with it, so you get your reward. I'm a lucky man, truly.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, my pleasure.